It's Ivor, and it's day 11 since the onset of my symptoms, at least according to the CDC Guidelines. And you know what? Let's talk about those for a second. The CDC Guidelines for ending isolation for people who had COVID-19 and had symptoms. So they say if you've had COVID-19 symptoms, isolate for at least 5 days, where day 0 is the first day you had symptoms and day 1 is the first full day after symptom onset. Sounds pretty straightforward so far. You can end isolation after 5 full days if you've gone fever-free for more than 24 hours, without the use of fever-reducing drugs. Cool, I've done that. You should continue to wear a mask at home for 5 days after your isolation period, so that's days 6 through 10. Okay. So that seems to imply that after 10 days you can go back to normal. But it doesn't mention anything about testing yet. If you scroll down a little farther, if an individual wants to test, the best approach is to use an antigen test towards the end of the 5-day isolation period. If your test is positive, you should continue to isolate until day 10. Okay, whatever, it's been 10 days. No big deal. I've isolated, I've masked. Oh wait, at the bottom it says that these don't apply to people with moderate or severe COVID-19 symptoms. But they don't define what either of those are. Now, I don't think my symptoms were severe, but were they moderate? So turns out there aren't actually guidelines for moderate. It just talks about severe. And if you've had severe COVID, which I guess also applies to moderate since it says the guidelines below and they don't talk about moderate anywhere else, that you should have a viral test to confirm that you're safe to be around others, and you should isolate and mask for 20 days. I want to do the right thing here. I want to keep my family safe, but these guidelines are frustrating in that it's really hard to tell what it is the CDC thinks I'm supposed to do. Anyway, enough about that. I feel great and my recovery was actually green this morning, so I'm going to go outside taking a mask and get a ride in. Let's get going. I'm back outside, and man, it feels good to be here. I'm still taking it really easy today. Not really looking at power, just keeping the perceived exertion really low and paying attention to my heart rate. Even before I got sick, I had been neglecting the local longish climb in favor of going up and riding on Mount Diablo with my teammates. So I thought I'd show it some love today and ride it a couple times. You know, it's funny. After spending a ton of time on the trainer, I always feel super fast as soon as I get on the road. Well, maybe not here on a 13% climb, but more like here. All right, I'm on East Dunn Avenue in Morgan Hill, California. The stretch I'm on, though, people just refer to as Coe. More on that later. If you've been around the channel for a while, you've definitely seen this hill. If you're new here, welcome, thanks for coming by. You just stumbled into a vlog series on trying to regain fitness after COVID. Either way though, while you're here, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. It really does a lot for the video and the channel. You can also connect with me on Instagram at @thecommutist, right up there. Anyway, back to the climb. I love this climb because it's a road that just dead ends into Coe State Park. There are about 2 private residences here. So basically, unless you're one of the 2 families that lives here, or you're going to the park to ride or hike, you're probably not on this road, which is why it's usually so very quiet. The climb's about 7 miles from the bridge to the ranger station at the top, and apart from a couple really short, really steep pitches, the grade is mostly pretty manageable. It's really 2 climbs, the first of which is twice as long as the second. First climb takes you up to Finley Ridge, where you have great views of the valley. Just before you hit the top of the first climb, there's a small dip, not significant enough to be called a descent, but then at Finley Ridge, you drop down into the valley for about a 1-minute descent. And then suddenly you're in state park / farmland. And it's kind of gorgeous. All right, made it to the ranger station and visitor center on trip 1. Time to refill some bottles, maybe take in some of the view, and then head back down and start up round 2. high back at the top. Everything felt great. My heart rate was higher than it was all week, but completely normal given the power and the heat and the fact that this is my first outside ride in 2 weeks. All in all, I feel pretty great. What you doing, babe?
Playing Witcher.
See, I'm not the only one playing PS5. Anyway, it's actually Sunday now. I was gonna film the rest of this last night, but my mom got home with my kids and excuses. Like I was saying, the ride felt great. It felt good to push a little bit harder on the pedal, still not really hard. My legs felt great, and when I got home, I felt normal. You can check out the data from the ride right here. I thought everything was going fine, but then I woke up to this. Resting heart rate crazy high, HRV in the gutter, and all from a ride that was barely a blip on the radar from an RPE perspective. Again, let's be clear, I feel fine. I feel normal. There's nothing that would physically indicate that there's anything wrong. And lots of things can affect your resting heart rate, lots of things can affect your HRV, but I think Occam's razor here suggests the most likely culprit is COVID. So what does that mean? Well, I'm gonna continue taking it really easy, gonna continue masking at home. My wife is gonna continue masking at home. I had planned on going for a ride today, pretty similar to yesterday's ride, but given the poor recovery, I kind of pulled the plug on that. The plan was just to do 2 hours super easy on the local bike trail. That turned into 1 hour when my front tire flatted and I had to use a Dynaplug to get home. Tomorrow's a rest day. My next ride is on Tuesday, so between now and then, I'm just gonna focus on recovery, hydration, maybe do some mobility work. If I'm really ambitious, some yoga and focused breathing. And if you're wondering why I'm out here walking around the neighborhood late on a Sunday night, it's because my wife had some big sports ball game on the TV, and I really didn't want her to have to wear a mask while watching it. Funny though, I could have sworn I heard Snoop Dogg as I left. And I'm home for the night. Thanks for following along on this journey. Hopefully you're finding this series informative or helpful, or maybe you can relate. If so, drop me a comment down below. For more on the series, why don't you click right here? But that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.